Hello. Today, I will be delving into Nippon Steel's acquisition plan for U.S. Steel, with a particular focus on the recent remarks made by former President Trump. The information source is a Yahoo News article distributed by Kyoto News. First, let me briefly touch on the background of today's topic. U.S. Steel is a venerable American steel manufacturer that has supported the nation's industrial development since the early 20th century. On the other hand, Nippon Steel is a global leader in the Japanese steel industry, boasting world-class competitiveness. The moves by these two companies go beyond a simple corporate acquisition. They have the potential to significantly impact the economies and security of both Japan and the United States. Since the acquisition plan was announced, concerns have been raised within the U.S. regarding employment, technology, outflow, and economic security risks. In particular, the steel industry is a key national industry, closely tied to infrastructure and the defense sector. For this reason, there has been a cautious stance toward foreign acquisition of management rights. Amid these circumstances, former President Trump's statement that the homeland will control has drawn significant attention. According to the article, Trump stated, "This is an investment. Nippon Steel will have partial ownership, but the United States will manage it," and even went so far as to say, "If not, I won't allow the deal to go through." This marks a shift from the previous expression of partnership agreement to a much stronger assertion. When considering the meaning of this statement, we must pay attention to the use of the word management. Previously, Trump had hinted on social media at approving the deal as a partnership. However, in this recent statement, he used the much stronger term management. This is likely not just a change of wording, but a reflection of more concrete demands and a show of a firm stance intended for a domestic audience. In the U.S., because the steel industry is of critical importance to economic security, foreign acquisition of management rights is subject to strict review. In particular, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFIUS, is well known for such reviews. And if a deal is deemed to impact national security, it can be blocked. This acquisition plan is also expected to be subject to such review. The article also touches on Trump's previous social media statements. U.S. Steel will remain in the U.S. The headquarters will stay in Pittsburgh, and at least 70,000 jobs and $14 billion will be contributed to the U.S. economy. These statements appear aimed at easing opposition to the acquisition by emphasizing domestic employment and economic benefits. On the other hand, it is still unclear exactly what is meant by management. For example, it could refer to the composition ratio of the board of directors, restrictions on access to technology, or the granting of national security. Veto rights. Various possibilities exist. How these conditions will affect future business operations remains uncertain at this point. The core takeaway from this report is that, while Trump acknowledges the massive investment and economic benefits, he is attaching the condition of U.S. management, the contents of which are still unclear. Considering the previous partnership language and the stated economic benefits, there remains a major question regarding the true meaning and concrete outcome of management. Behind this use of the term, management is the rise of U.S. industrial policy and economic nationalism. Since the Trump administration, amid the ongoing America First trend, there has been increasing scrutiny of foreign acquisitions and management. Participation in U.S. companies, especially as U.S.-China tensions intensify, the importance of economic security is being re-emphasized, and there is a cautious approach to foreign entry into strategic industries like steel. Moreover, this acquisition plan could significantly affect Japan-U.S. economic relations. There have been various cases of large-scale acquisitions of U.S. companies by Japanese firms in the past, each time requiring discussion and adjustment within the U.S. In this case as well, discussions between the two governments and relevant agencies are ongoing, and there remain many challenges before a final agreement can be reached. The impact of Trump's remarks on the market and stakeholders cannot be ignored. The lingering ambiguity of the term management creates uncertainty about future developments, which could influence market reactions and stakeholder responses. This uncertainty itself will likely be a key factor in future negotiations and business operations. Furthermore, attention is also focused on trends in the steel industry as a whole. Amid intensifying global competition, steel manufacturers in various countries are working to improve production efficiency, innovate technologically, and strengthen supply chains. Nippon Steel's acquisition plan for U.S. Steel can be seen as part of this industry realignment. Looking ahead, the outcome of reviews by regulatory bodies such as CFIUS will be a major focus. What conditions the U.S. government will impose and how Nippon Steel will respond will be key points. The reactions of labor unions, local governments, and industry groups will also be important factors. Finally, if this acquisition plan is realized, we must continue to closely watch what changes will occur in the economic relations and industrial structures of Japan and the U.S. With expected developments in Trump's statements, the U.S. government's response, and Nippon Steel's strategy, I will continue to provide updates and analysis as the situation evolves. That concludes my overview and analysis of the current state and future outlook regarding Nippon Steel's acquisition plan for U.S. Steel and the remarks by former President Trump. Thank you for watching.